Blog Talk Radio.
As promised, Academy Award-winning documentary filmmaker Michael Moore. Michael, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is Rachel Maddow. Good evening, Rachel.
Good evening, Keith.
There's been a spike in the desire to own guns in Connecticut. Statewide, over 90,000 guns have been authorized for sale. You know how I feel about it.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Good evening, my fellow Americans and patriots. It is October 31st, Halloween, St. Hallows Night. You know, we joke about it. We actually had a some pretty interesting conversations today. And for some reason it's kind of festive. I don't know why. Halloween typically, obviously with the costumes and everything around here, and with the kids and everything, all our kids are grown up and moved out of the house. But seeing the kids in the neighborhood, yes, I live in a community in which they still celebrate the holidays on the day of the holidays, not over the weekends, or we still celebrate July 4th on July 4th in this community, not on the weekends. And everything. So watching that, and it's kind of festive. It's kind of interesting to watch these ghouls and goblins walking around in the neighborhoods and everything. But I'll tell you one thing: there's no trick or treating going on in Washington D.C. Man, it's just flat out trick. The things that they're doing, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can reach us here every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Standard Times, and sometimes we'll go into the third hour, depending on the conversations, like we did last night. If you guys were listening on the show, wow, what a show. What an incredible show we had. We had Joe Wurzelbacher was on, a.k.a. Joe the Plumber. We had congressional candidate of the great state of California, Rodney Lee Conover, on as well. He's actually running in the district that was Nancy Pelosi's prior to the redistricting. So we had him on the air last night. Conversations, originally, it's amazing. We were talking about it today. Actually, we were talking to each other on the phones, and the conversation with Joe was supposed to be 50. He's a fairly busy individual, and and it turned into an hour. So I highly recommend that you go back and listen to that conversation. I do apologize for some of the technical, but hey, that's live. That's what you get when you do a live show. We don't record anything here. And if we did, we would definitely let you know up front. So everything we do here is live, so you're going to hear our mistakes and everything, and it's kind of comical. Keep that in the archives. I'm sure someday that will come back and haunt me and everything. We had some phone issues and some conversations that went on the air prior to it's supposed to be going on the air. So you can always join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com. We got NSA news. We got Google news. We got Techer tips going on. Prepper Recon's going to be joining us here in a few minutes, actually at the middle of the hour to the end of the hour, going over first aid preparation, first aid kits. We just got a ton of information, even though, it's kind of a little bit of slow news day out there, slow cycle compared to the other days. There is still plenty that we can talk about. We got great news for the great state of Ohio. I got that information earlier today, so I'll share that with you when we get back from the break. But you are listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. Join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com.
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
We were told nothing could be done to enjoy these final moments together.
But in that moment, when all seemed lost,
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital gave us hope.
Because at this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care. We're changing the way the world treats childhood cancer by sharing our discoveries with doctors and scientists everywhere.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends.
I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and join St. Jude in finding cures and saving.
Oh, that? It's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure. Just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money. Always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
This message brought to you by the American...
There you go, my fellow Patriots. As promised, ahead of schedule, way under budget. Well within the budget, but way under budget. Our new broadcast ad server is up and running. I told you. You guys had doubts. I know you did. I know you had doubts. But I told you we would get this server up and running before they fixed Obamacare. And, really, that's not really a hard stretch. I think that I probably have another year to go before they actually fix Obamacare. I don't think they'll ever fix Obamacare because it is just fundamentally broken. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later. But, keeping with the festivities of Halloween, I went out, I was out on the web, had a little fun today, had a little, doing a little bit of business. We got our servers up and running. Like I said, the ad servers, they are running. So you're going to start hearing advertisements and breaks and all of that. And I do apologize. Trust me, for those that are loyal listeners out there, we will find a way of helping you circumvent that. Because we're such anarchists here at the Midnight Patriot. I kid. But no, we'll find a way to do that. But it's just, we do believe in capitalism here. We do believe that we, obviously have to make money doing this. It costs money to actually produce these shows and the time that we spend. And, we also need to get more equipment. And we know that after last night, the equipment that we're looking for is about $2,000. That's just the equipment. Then you got to buy all the phone lines and stuff. But, we'll make it happen. I've always said, God gives us what we need here at the Midnight Patriot. Not what we want, but what we need. And so I'm a firm believer that those prayers will be answered in due time. So I just kind of turn it over to him and let him deal with it. But, we got our ad server up and running. For those, so now we'll be able to do broadcast advertising. And, that raises a good point. If you want to help support us here in our efforts at the Midnight Patriot, the best way you can do that is, number one, tell all your friends about us. Stop what you're doing right now. We joked about this, but I'm actually somewhat serious. Stop sending the cute kittens in Facebook, the pictures of the, hang in there. All the, I do like the pumpkins, though. I will tell you that. I do like all the different pumpkins pictures that we're getting on Facebook. That's cool. Keep those coming. There's a lot of creativity in the Patriot movement, isn't there? If you look at those. If you don't know what I'm talking about, join us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is The Midnight Patriot. You can friend us, join us as a friend. Love to talk to you. I mean, anybody will tell you, that I'm probably one of the most accessible hosts in the industry. I will always be that way because I know without you, this show would not be possible. And I'll never forget that. So you can friend us on Facebook. That will allow us, allow you to text and everything with you. And, I'll get back to you. We'll get back to you. But if you want to join in the conversation tonight, as we talk about the NSA and Obamacare and some of the other things that are going on and, our illustrious king dictator. Yeah, we're going to be talking about him. We're going to be poking a little fun at him tonight and stuff. But, if you want to join the conversation, you can always do that by calling 262-997-0607. That's 262-997-0607. Or you can Skype us at The Midnight Patriot. Now, one of the things that we weren't able to get set up when we were working with the company that Citrix or Cisco does GoToMeeting. We got our GoToMeeting servers up, but then we found out there's a big problem. Their technology is limiting in the ability to do what we needed to do here. So I do apologize for that. So we're back to the older technology, but you can give us a call at 262-997-0607, or you can, of course, Skype us. Love to have you on the air if you have anything. You got to remember, this show is for you. We put this show together for you to have a voice. We see the messages and everything going back and forth on Facebook. Well, this is an opportunity for your voice to get heard. We don't censor you here. Now, we do ask, hey, you can make your argument without making threats. And that's all that we ask. So you don't threaten. You don't name calling, within reason. But no personal attacks. Keep it to the topics. And you're more than welcome to join in, have the conversation. We'll give you the air. If you listen to our show from time to time, you'll know that. When we have when we have patriots that call in and we do our interviews, we just let it run. And, we don't want to interrupt those. We want to keep the conversation going. And that's what it's all about here at the Midnight Patriot, is a conversation. We want to have a conversation with you, hear different views of opinions, different ideas, maybe different solutions to the problems that are out there. And like I said, a little bit later, we're going to be joined by Prepper Recon. He's going to be coming online. We're going to be talking about first aid kits. Now, I will tell you, I'm a little disappointed because I know you guys listen to the show. I mean, I see the numbers. I know the numbers. What I'm disappointed about is that last week we had a small contest. We asked people to take a picture of their bug out bags and send them to me, or send them to us. And the best one, we would, Prepper Recon and I would give you a copy of his book and also another book from Jake Danish-Vesky. I didn't get any pictures. Now, I know we have listeners. I see the numbers between iTunes, now Xbox, Spreaker, SoundCloud, all of the different feeds that we send out to, TuneIn, Stitcher Radio, all of those. I know the numbers. We get the reports. So I know we have the listeners. I guess what I'm concerned about is there that many people who listen to this show who are not prepared? That's concerning. That really is. I mean, you need to just put a small bug, because what happens is disaster's not going to, and it could be any type of disaster, is not going to give you warnings. Well, we got warnings now. But, it happens. Maybe a fire or an electrical outage or something of that nature. If your home was to catch on fire now, and, of course, the Red Cross would maybe help you out. I don't know. Would you have the necessary supplies for the next few days? This is not all about just the end of the world kind of conversations that we have here. This is about everyday life. We live in the state of Wisconsin, and the weather's starting to change on us, and you hear all the time about people being stranded in their automobiles. So I just ask, we'll extend it. We'll extend the thing. If you don't have, whatever you have, put something together. It's better than nothing. Be it a candle, a blanket, lighters, just a standard kit. Go out to Prepper Recon's website, prepperrecon.com, and take a look. He's got a lot of kits. And, you don't have to go over the top. You don't have to have the full nuclear body biohazard suits. You don't have to have all that. But something's better than nothing. And, so I that's where my disappointment. Not the fact that we didn't get any pictures. I know we have the listeners. I know we do. But what that tells me is out of the listeners, you guys don't have the basics. And I'm really concerned about you. I'm really concerned about you and your family. There's no greater time to prepare than now. So, start putting that stuff together. We at the Midnight Patriot are concerned about you and your well-being. So start, getting those kits together, especially if you live up north or if you're out somewhere, Arizona, out in the desert or whatever, have those kits in your car. Because you can't depend on people to come and save you. You got to take it upon yourself to do that. The government's too busy hunting down patriots. They ain't got time to save you. So I just ask that you do that. Now with this ad server, it's kind of new to us. So we're gonna, the timing. We gotta play with the timing a little bit here and stuff. But keeping with a little parody tonight, a little comedy. Hopefully, this kind of put a smile on my face when I heard it. So we'll play it. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll start talking about the news, and we'll have Prepper Recon.
Down to Washington, he was looking for a throne to steal. He wanted to bind his frame of mind to America's New Deal. When he came upon this patriot on the guitar playing it hot, Obama jumped up a political stump and said, "Joe, I'll tell you what, I'll bet you hadn't heard that I'm a guitar player too. And if you care to take a dare, I'll make a bet with you. Now you play a pretty good guitar, boy, but give Obama his due. I'll bet the nation's soul whose throne I stole, I'm a better player than you." Joe said, "My name's not Boy, man, and I'm ready to rebel. But I'll take your bet and your veiled threat if it'll break your evil spell." Joe, grab your Stratocaster and play your fingers hard, 'cause hell's broke loose in D.C. and Obama holds the cards. And if he wins the minds of men, the damage is untold. But if you win, the devil could be unthroned. Obama grabbed his Telecaster and said, "I'll start this test." And fire flew from his fingertips as he unbuttoned his president's vest. Then he kissed his magic guitar pick, and it made an evil hiss. And a band of politicians joined in, and it sounded something like this. Finished, Joe said, "Well, you're pretty good, Hussein, but sit right there with that arrogant glare till I finished up my playing." He played Obama's in D.C., run, boys, run. The devil in the White House ain't no fun. Chickens in Congress taking our dough. Granny got Medicare, no child, no. Obama bowed his head because he knew that he'd been bound. And he laid his silly rubber mask before Joe upon the ground. Joe said, Obama, please get lost and don't you ever come back again. We done told you once, you socialist pawn, you ain't our nation's friend. He played Obama's in D.C., run boys run. The devil in the White House ain't no fun. Chickens in Congress taking our dough. Granny gun Medicare, no child, no.
I just couldn't resist that. Just couldn't resist it. So that was Joe Horn, obviously. He well, not obviously to you, but obviously to me. So you can actually go out to YouTube and find that. You can YouTube or Google Joe Horn. You got to watch the video. It's actually pretty comical and everything. So keeping in with the tone of the night, we will be playing certain parodies throughout the evening, having a little bit of fun here. And everything. We're also going to be talking about some pretty serious things. We're going to be talking about the NSA. Now, apparently our government's concerned that the NSA has been spying on the president. Really? Yeah, there's that concern. We actually have the smoking gun. We had it long ago about the IRS turning personal or business tax records over to the Federal Elections Commission. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about what's floating off in our nation's ports on the East and West Coast, owned by Google, and some of the, what Google's saying they're used for, but what others are saying that they possibly could be used for. Obviously, I don't know if you guys know this, but Google has been enlisted by the government to help fix Obamacare. And I think those barges have something to do with it, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But when we get back from the break, Prepper Recon will probably be joining us. We got a lot of things to cover. I got some more parodies to do throughout the night, so tune in. Now, I will tell you that Madison Rising is still the official music provider. We're just going to have a little fun tonight as we play parodies and stuff. But go out to MadisonRising.com, support them, let them know that you heard about them on the Midnight Patriot Show. So when we get back, we'll have Prepper Recon, and we'll get back into the news.
I had PTSD. Once I was back from Iraq, I was distant from everybody in my family. We had a reunion of our unit, and you'd hear these spouses say, "Is your husband doing that? My husband's doing that too. I thought it was just us." And really understanding that, hey, this is a common experience.
I learned more to listen to what he was saying, and that made it easier for me to understand where his pain was coming from.
Resources are available for military families. Learn more at realwarriors.net.
After Daniel Pearl was kidnapped and murdered in Pakistan, his family and friends came together to work towards a more humane world.
On Daniel Pearl Music Day, thousands of people around the world will unite to promote harmony for humanity.
Join us in using the universal language of music
to diminish hatred,
respect differences,
and reach out in friendship.
Participate in Daniel Pearl Music Day, promoting...
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
We were told nothing could be done to enjoy these final moments together.
But in that moment, when all seemed lost,
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital gave us hope.
Because at this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care. We're changing the way the world treats childhood cancer by sharing our discoveries with doctors and scientists everywhere.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends.
I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and join St. Jude in finding cures and saving children.
Dad, it's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money. Always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
This message brought to you by the
America. Welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can join us every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time till whenever we decide we're going to stop talking. Usually it's around 12 o'clock a.m. And you can find us on YouTube. You can get us on iTunes, now Xbox Music. They announced that they're actually carrying us live on the Xbox Music platform, so you can listen on your Xboxes as you're gaming and doing all sorts of crazy things there and stuff. So as I said earlier, right before we went to the break, Prepper Recon, for those that don't know, he's a contributor. I would say he's a contributing member of our organization here. He comes on every Thursday. We try to get him on every Thursday, and we talk about prepping tips. I highly recommend you go. He also has a podcast as well. Great information. I mean, just outstanding information. I mean, we have some of the best guests. You know, if you're listening to the show last night, we had Joe the Plumber on here. We had Rodney Lee Conover for Congress was on here. We had Stone Anthony. I mean, you know, Jake, I kind of feel like I got to stop there because I don't want it to become an issue like they do when when a star has to thank somebody when they win something here. But I'll tell you, it's you, the audience, and our guests that make this show what it is. So go out to prepperrecon.com. Listen to his podcast, get involved, very informative information, very informative and everything. So with that, I just like to say, hey, Mark, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good, man. It's good to be back on the show.
Oh, thanks. Hey, we went corporate. I'm sorry. We went corporate.
Hey, you got to pay the bills.
Yeah, the ads are, hey, as promised though, I got my stuff up and running before Obamacare, so we're happy. So yeah, no, we've got the new network is we got the ad server up right now. They're just shooting PSAs over to us, and then eventually that will be converted over, of course, to real life ads. They were telling me that we'll get the voiceover work done this week and weekend, and then next week we will actually have advertisement, real life, true to format. Oh my God, it's amazing. 3 weeks. We've already gone so far in 3 weeks. So I know you are pressed for time, and I appreciate you taking time out of your evening. And I know that you're working on a few things, and maybe share that with the audience and stuff. But let's dive right into it. Now, I will tell you, I don't know if you heard the thing. I did kind of get on our listeners that about the 2,000. We have about 2,000 a day now.
That's awesome.
It's incredible, and and I know what it is. People just we talk about it, but it's sometimes hard to just take action. And I know that's exactly what it is, because I know we have the listeners. But, once again, it's just, we talk about it, and it's that taking action part that we kind of stumble on. So hopefully my little prep talk there, and a little, I wasn't too rough on them. Hopefully we'll get them moved. I will tell you, maybe I'll take a picture of my bug out bag. I put it together last week. Maybe I should win the books.
Lead by example.
Exactly. So what do you got for us tonight, Mark?
I don't know, Jeff. Maybe we don't have to worry about all that stuff. I was watching Obama's speech today. He said, we cleared away the rubble from the financial crisis.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't need to be in this business anymore. I'm thinking about finding a new hobby. I'm thinking about maybe cupcake decorating. I could do unicorns and clowns, and maybe the Star Wars cupcake theme things like that.
I'm gonna stick with finger painting.
Can I still come on the show if I change it to Cupcake Recon?
Absolutely.
Right. I don't know if he cleared the financial crisis. If he's cleared away the rubble from that, maybe next he's going to restore the Constitution. Maybe you won't have a job next week either.
Yeah.
We can start. Maybe we can do midnight cupcake. It'll be till 2 a.m. You can come in and get a unicorn cupcake.
See, I just think that this president is probably one of the most misinformed presidents. I just think he's got his holidays mixed up. I think it's an April Fool's joke, actually. And he just got him
lying, do you?
Oh well, no, of course.
The 10 million people that dropped out of the workforce since he took office, didn't they get a job today or something?
Yeah, I was in that. I'm in that pool.
What about the $7 trillion that we've racked up in debt since he was elected? Did we pay that off today?
Well, it's funny because they were saying that he was just going to take a platinum bar and call that a $20 trillion, most expensive piece of platinum ever. So no, it's the same game with this guy. We did that show on Sal Alinsky, and after doing the research on that, I get it. I tell people I got the playbook. It's like me, I'm the Green Bay Packers and I'm going to the Super Bowl and I've got my opponent's playbook, and I'm charged up. I'm gonna win this thing. And if you ever read the rules for radicals, you will have Obama's playbook. Just flat out. It's just unbelievable how that just parallels everything. Like today, we tongue in cheek. A little tongue in cheek, but the reality of it is, Sal Alinsky says that's perfectly okay. It is perfectly okay, based upon the manual, the playbook, to lie to people as a politician, as long as at the end of the day you get what you want. He says that. It's not like kind of woven into the conversation. It's directly a quote from Sal Alinsky. It's perfectly okay to lie. That's why Obama can stand up there and say, I want to take your guns, but I'm for the Second Amendment. That doublespeak.
Is it okay for us to lie to the government? Can you lie to the IRS about how much money you made last year? That's okay, right?
I hate to say it, but I hope to never be on that side of the table from the IRS. I'm gonna try to avoid it.
Let me retract that. Yeah. Let me retract that question. Let's talk about something else.
But no.
Right, so the unicorn cupcakes.
The unicorn.
Are going to be purple with little rainbows.
That's right.
And
But no, you raise a perfectly good point though, because the thing is I guess I'm and like I said, I'm not a legal scholar. Maybe we need to get one of those on here and everything. But I guess my question is this: is that I was always told that if you lie to a judicial branch or even law enforcement, that's called obstruction, and that's illegal. You go to jail for that. Ask Martha Stewart. Ask some fairly well-known, pretty intelligent people what happens when you lie. So I guess the issue is, and maybe that's why we're hearing the truth starting to come out in the Senate hearings, because the fact of the matter is they're under oath at that point. I don't know. It's amazing. And I did hear the speech today, and I was just like, are you kidding me? I mean, what is this guy doing? I mean, well, I know what he's doing. He's thinking that we're just too stupid to that we're he's our king. He's our illustrious leader. Whatever he says goes.
Yeah. Did you happen to catch the special on Nat Geo this week? It was called American Blackout.
I didn't.
It was about a terrorist attack on the power grid, and it was a 2-hour special, and it basically shows what some people in New York had to go through, and this kid and his mother went to the hospital, and she couldn't get back home, and he was home alone, and it was a little bit like Home Alone meets Doomsday Preppers meets the Blair Witch Project. It wasn't really great cinematography, and it really didn't have any good prepper tips in it at all. If anything, though, maybe it had the value of kind of waking people up to say, well, this is how bad things could go if we had a terrorist attack on the power grid, which Janet Napolitano in her exit speech said was basically 100% certainty that it's not an if but when matter. Mm-hmm. So I think that your gentle tough love at the beginning of the segment was perfectly called for. And you don't have to spend a ton of money to get prepared. I think we talked last week or the week before, you can get a 5-gallon bucket and 20 pounds of rice and 10 pounds of beans and put all that in a Mylar liner and iron it and seal it, and for $20 you got food for 2 people for 10 days or one person for 20 days. Mm-hmm. It's $20. And also Christmas is coming up. If you don't have a bug out bag, tell Uncle Louie that you're thinking about doing some hiking next year and you'd like a nice backpack, and tell him what you'd like. And a lot of the things that you get for your bug out bag are essentially just camping items. Maybe a couple of sternos, and tonight we're going to be talking about a medical kit. There might be some things in there that you could ask for Christmas. Some of them, maybe not, because they might be a little, you're going to have to get into the conversation. Well, what do you need that for? And everybody doesn't want to start out like that until they
get it.
Kind of get it all figured out.
Now, don't laugh at me. I actually, you have kids, and every year they got to get a new book bag, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm looking for my daughters. She had a Hello Kitty book bag, and I'm thinking that would be the ultimate disguise for a bug out bag, because no one's going to think that there's anything in there, right?
Nope.
So I was asking her about. I'm like, where's the Hello Kitty book bag that you had? And she's kind of
unless you're wearing it because you're what, 6.
I'm about 6'6".
And how big? 3?
Oh, I'm a monster. I'm in 300 plus.
Yeah, that might be a little bit hard to look away if you had on a Hello Kitty backpack.
But who's going to say anything?
Yeah, nobody's going to say anything.
Who's going to say anything?
She's going to draw a lot of attention.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we were talking about that, and
it's not being the gray man, Jeff. The gray man is, and that's a prepping concept. I don't know if we've ever talked about that, but being the gray man is blending into your environment. So a lot of people go in and they get the camo backpack, and they've got the battle dress uniform fatigues, and this is what they're planning to bug out with. And if you're in the middle of the woods, that might be great. But if you're living in a high-rise in Manhattan, you're definitely going to mark yourself as a prepper, so you get a gang of 10 or 20 thugs, and they might say, well, this guy's probably got stuff, so let's take it from him. Whereas if you'd have just had a regular ball cap, some jeans, sort of muted colors, no fluorescent pink, no Hello Kitty stickers, and no purple unicorns cupcakes in your hand, walking down the street. You just want to blend in the jeans, the casual shoes, good comfortable walking shoes, and like a dark blue or a dark gray backpack. Something that's not a loud color, but then again, it doesn't really mark itself as looking military. Sure. And that's a good concept for preppers to think about, if you had to bug out on foot.
Sure. And that was the thing, on our efforts here and stuff, I have been actively looking at a trailer, at getting a trailer. And then, my first thing is, how much can I shove in there and everything. And that's what we're looking. It's kind of funny because I'm going and I'm looking for them and everything. I'm not looking at them. They're showing me all the nice food, and I'm just like, look, I'm looking for something for storage and practicality. That's all I care about. I don't care, if it has an air conditioner, because I'm not going to be running AC because we're going to be. So it's so I'm making those. You have woken me up more so than any TV show out there, and I'm making those baby steps. I mean, I'll get there. And I saw your article. You had an excellent article today on rain catches. Yeah. I saw that. That was, and I actually have access to the blue barrels. Great. So yeah, so we'll put that together. And I never really thought of it. Like I said, I bought the freeze dried food, but all of that food, you got to have water. I mean, obviously we need water anyways, but you got to have water. So, I was looking at, we don't have enough, backup water as it sits now. So we'll get a couple of those going as well.
Yeah, I made that whole setup with the 2 barrels and the gutters, and I put a tap on one of the barrels. All that was under $100.
Sure.
So like I said, it doesn't have to be expensive. And I got those on Craigslist, those barrels.
Yeah. You can get them if in most cities and stuff. You can go to any. You got to make sure they're food grade. I did learn that.
Yeah.
Just because they're blue does not mean that they're they could put polymers in there. I learned that the hard way too. But just got to make sure that they're food grade barrels. And I would recommend, if you're going to do that, because like I said, I started to get some kind of dolly, because those things are heavy when they're full of water. I mean, you're not moving them.
Oh no, I don't move them when they're full of water. Yeah. You got to clean them out every couple of months, and you just drain it out. If you got the little tap, you can just drain it and tip it over and spray it out with the garden hose. A little bleach. Bleach won't hurt you. Bleach is in the water that we drink already. And if you put bleach in water and you let it sit out for 24 hours, all that bleach is going to evaporate up out of there in 24 hours. So.
Well, and that was one of the questions I had too with that, is that how do you, because I know water actually does go bad. So how do you you're just saying use bleach. How about iodine? Can you put a little iodine in there, and Would that? I know it's going to taste bad, but I don't care what it tastes like. It's water.
Yeah, I guess you could, but it's not going to go bad fast.
Okay.
And for clear water, to purify it, 8 drops of bleach. For cloudy water, I wouldn't want to drink cloudy water, but if you have to, you have to. It's 16 drops of bleach with an eyedropper per gallon.
Per gallon, okay.
And you can drink it right away. If you let it sit for a day, it's going to lose a lot of that bleach taste, so it's going to taste a lot better 24 hours later than it is right then. But if you have to drink it, you got cloudy water, you can put 16 drops of bleach in it, and it'll kill most everything that's in there.
Wow. And then, of course, you can always boil it, correct?
You can always boil it. Mm-hmm.
And what is
You don't even have to bring it to a full boil.
Okay. And that was, I guess, the question, because, we use the sinus things around here, and, they talk about the amoeba in Louisiana and stuff, and that was actually a discussion here at the house, because, I'm not going to go get distilled water where I can just boil it. But everybody here was like, oh, you got to boil it for 15 minutes. I'm like, if I boil it for 15 minutes, there's not going to be water left.
Yeah.
So you can just bring it to a boil, and that's good.
As soon as it starts to boil, everything in it's dead.
Okay. All right, that's good to
know. Nothing's going to survive that.
Okay. That was one of the questions that I had. So, but no, excellent article. I saw that, and I was like, oh, we got to get that out. When I was looking at getting they make those atmosphere water systems where it actually sucks it out. And where I live, it'd be perfect, because it's, and you too as well, because it's pretty humid
Yeah.
But once again, that's it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of energy that it takes to run those things. So.
Yeah, I pull about 3 gallons of water a day out of my dehumidifier in my house. And
Sure.
I don't have a big house either. It's just, to try to keep from getting mold,
Sure. So what do you got for us today?
We're going to talk about putting together a little medical kit to keep in your. This is going to be kind of a big one. You could do a scaled down model of this for your bug out bag. You can keep this in your bug out bag, especially if you've got a family and you got 2 or 3 of you, and this could go in one of the bags because this is a very comprehensive medical kit. But at least have this at your house, and you might even want a little scaled down one of these to keep in your car as well. I have a little medical kit in my car, and I've got the big one for the house, and then I've got a scaled down one for my bug out bag. So I've got 3,
sure. And
I'll kind of try to, as I go through each thing, try to say if I have this in the car or the bug out bag or where. The first thing, we all talk about guns, we all talk about ammo. If you're talking about guns and ammo, you have to understand that there's a reasonable expectation that someday you may get in a firefight. Now, if you get in a firefight, you may get shot. So if you're going to talk about guns and ammo, you also have to think about your response to a gunshot wound and being able to address that yourself, at least until somebody else with a higher skill level can get to you to help you out. I think the best thing to have for a gunshot wound is what's called an Israeli battle dressing. Now, this is a self-contained package, and it's basically like an ace bandage with a sterile gauze inside, and it's got its own little closure straps, and you could put it around your chest or your arm or your leg or wherever you've had a bad injury. And it doesn't have to be a gunshot wound. Anytime you've got any sort of a disaster, you're at a higher risk of getting an injury. If you're digging people out of rubble from a earthquake and some debris falls on you, you could get a nice big gash in your arm. If you're sawing up a downed tree limb from a hurricane, and you're not real handy with a chainsaw, you could lay that chainsaw on your leg and you could be bleeding, and the roads could be blocked and the power could be out and there could be no 911, and you could get to the hospital and it could be a 2-hour wait to see anybody. So this little battle dressing that was originally developed by the Israeli army is just a great self-contained sterile bandage. They're about $10 on Amazon. I think you might, if you get 3 at a time, they might be a little cheaper, but I think it's one of the best things you can buy for your bug out bag.
Sure.
I've got one in my bug out bag. I've got one in my home first aid kit, and I keep one in the car.
Sure.
And it might save your life. Our troops also keep them in their personal individual first aid kits, what it's called.
So,
EFAC, I think they call it.
There you go. See, we got in corporate, Mark. There's the music telling us this stuff. When we get back, you were listening to Prepper Recon. Go out to his website, prepperrecon.com. When we get back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit more extensively and some other things. So you're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. Join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com.
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
We were told nothing could be done to enjoy these final moments together.
But in that moment, when all seemed lost,
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital gave us hope.
Because at this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care. We're changing the way the world treats childhood cancer by sharing our discoveries with doctors and scientists everywhere.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends.
I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and join St. Jude in finding cures and saving children.
America, welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
What is that?
Oh, that? It's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money. Always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
After
This
Daniel
message brought
Pearl
to you
was
by the-
kidnapped and murdered in Pakistan, his family and friends came together to work towards a more humane world.
On Daniel Pearl Music Day, thousands of people around the world will unite to promote harmony for humanity.
Join us in using the universal language of music
to diminish hatred,
respect differences,
and reach out in friendship.
Participate in Daniel Pearl Music Day, promoting...
I had PTSD. Once I was back from Iraq, I was distant from everybody in my family. We had a reunion of our unit, and you'd hear these spouses say, "Is your husband doing that? My husband's doing that too. I thought it was just us." And really understanding that, hey, this is a common experience.
I learned more to listen to what he was saying, and that made it easier for me to understand where his pain was coming from.
Resources are available for military families. Learn more at realwarriors.net.
So you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can join us every weeknight from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, sometimes into the wee hours, if we get a special guest and want to continue on the conversation. So continuing on with our conversation right before we went to break and everything, we were talking about the Israeli battle bandage and necessity in your first aid kit, right, Mark?
Yes. And then the next thing would be quick clot, which now there's two types of quick clot. One is a powdered substance, and if you may have seen that if you've watched a lot of police movies or police TV shows, because the police keep those in their first aid kits, and it's just a clotting substance that you would pour into a large wound, and it makes it cauterizes the bleeding really fast. Now, there's also a quick clot sponge, which I recommend, because little bitty teeny pieces of those granules of the powdered quick clot can actually get in your bloodstream, get to your heart, and cause a blood clot in your heart. So I recommend the sponge over the powder.
Sure.
And those are $5 or $10, but once again, if you ever need it, it might be a lifesaver. So I think it's a worthwhile investment. For cleaning a wound, best thing you can use, bar none, is betadine. That's what they use in the hospitals. It's a little bit more expensive than alcohol or hydrogen peroxide. It's about $20 for a big bottle, but that big bottle will probably last you for your life. It's betadine's an iodine solution, and iodine kills bacteria, it kills viruses, and it kills funguses. So that's why they use it in the hospitals, and it's just a cut above peroxide and alcohol for a cleaning solution for a deep cut or a wound. Sutures. You can get sutures also. You can get those on Amazon. Might be $10-15 for a box of 10 of them. And if you got 10 of them, you've got enough that you can practice with a couple of times and probably still have more than you'll ever use.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that with practice. I mean, when I was learning how to do sutures and stuff, you can use a good old piece of chicken breast is what we used to do it and stuff. So there's plenty of instructional videos out there on sutures. But so you can actually buy those on Amazon. I thought that was somewhat of a controlled product or whatever. So,
no,
okay,
not at all. No, you can buy them right off Amazon. For an instructional video, I think probably the best one you're going to find on YouTube is Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy. And they've been at this for a long time, and they do a lot of clinics for survival medicine. They're actually going to be at the Life Changes, Be Ready Preparedness and Gun Expo in Lakeland, Florida this weekend, which is what I'm getting ready for. You mentioned that I've been busy, and that's what I'm doing. I'm getting ready for that. That's November 2nd and 3rd, so especially anybody that's in the area, come by. It's $10 for one day or $15 if you want to do a ticket for Saturday and Sunday, November 2nd and 3rd. It's going to be some big speakers there. James Rawls is going to be speaking via satellite, and then live is going to be Southern Prepper One. He's got a YouTube channel, also known as David Kobler. He was one of the guys on the first episodes of Doomsday Preppers. If you've ever watched that show. And Dr. Bones, Nurse Amy, they're going to be there with some clinics. And they've got a whole slew of people. Marjorie Wildcraft, who is a big sustainability gardener, she's going to be there speaking. So it's going to be a really, really great expo. It's not going to be just a trade show where you go in there and it's just a glorified gun show with a lot of people selling stuff. I mean, there's going to be that there too, but there's going to be a lot of great information and things that are great value for the money.
Which is amazing. It tells you how small the world actually is, because we had Typhoon Lou and his partner on here from IamAmerican.org, and they're big Article 5 proponents, and they're actually going to be there as well. I think Lou's speaking. I think one of them's speaking there, and it's just kind of funny that I'm all the way up here in Wisconsin, and in the same week I have two people that I know personally that are going to be at that expo. So it's a fairly large expo. It's
going to be huge. There's over 20 speakers. They're going to have 2 rooms going simultaneously because they can't get all the speakers going in one room. So they're going to have a big room for sort of the headliners, and then they're going to have sort of the small room for maybe the less recognized speakers. And I had the lady Cindy Thompson from Fortress Management Group on my show a couple of weeks ago talking about the expo, and she said last year what people would do was couples would come in and one would go to one set of speakers and the other one would go to the others and take notes and come back and compare. There's just so much information that you can't get it all. It's going to be like the Louvre of prepping.
Well, it's crazy because I mean that's how, and I know that mainstream media, with the prepping show, I think we talked about that very early on and has woken a lot of people up. But I think people are starting to take. I get inquiries every. Well, what should we do? What and we talked about that the other night about the economy, the state of the economy is. But of course, like you said, President Obama said that he he waved his hand and he wiped out all the issues. But we tongue in cheek for those that are listening that don't understand our dry sense of humor. We were talking the other night about, savings and what you should do. And, and we brought up some of the conversations that we had, you and I had about, gold bullets, and all that. So people are starting to wake up. I would not be shocked if the amount of people there to, this weekend and stuff was probably doubled than what it was last year. I just wouldn't be, it wouldn't shock me, because I'm in Wisconsin and I'm hearing about it up here. So, it's just hopefully you guys have a really great show and you wake a lot of people up and get them into the Patriot movement, because we need people to survive whatever comes. We need people to survive.
We do. And, of course, now if you're going to be sewing yourself up or anybody else up, you're going to want some sterile gloves. And you can probably get a box of those at the dollar store, a little package of probably 10 pairs at the dollar store. Dollar store is a great place to get prepper items. If you're prepping on a budget, everything doesn't have to be the top of the line material. Sometimes, if you've got the money and you can get the better equipment, sometimes you want to do that, but sometimes you just don't have it. And now another thing is if you're sewing yourself up, maybe if I'm sewing you up, I don't care. But if I'm sewing me up, I'm going to want something to sort of numb that out a little bit before I start sewing. And we were talking about the sutures. They're not a controlled item. But now injectable lidocaine, that's a controlled substance, and you're not going to be able to get a hold of that. But what you can get is you can get topical lidocaine, and that's what they use a lot of times in tattoo parlors and piercing parlors and things like that, to just numb out the area a little bit. And there's one you can buy on Amazon, and it's called Topicaine, and it's just a local anesthetic cream. Now there's ways to make injectable lidocaine. I don't want the FDA kicking in my door, so I'm not going to tell anybody how. But if you Google how to make injectable lidocaine, you can probably find the instructions. And the powdered lidocaine, which is used to make the injectable lidocaine, now that's not controlled, and it can be bought from a place online that's called Lido King. So it's kind of like lidocaine, but Lido King, like King Obama. That's something if people want to take that on themselves, I'm not recommending to do it. I'm not telling you how to do it.
We're not endorsing that, but
I'm just saying that the information is probably available.
Now, one of the things, and maybe I'll get the doors knocked in tomorrow, but I don't know. But I always, what I do is I had, whenever I have like a minor surgery, I haven't had any major surgeries, but whenever you have surgery or whatever like that, doctors are always, giving you pain meds. And
they love it.
And so what I do,
they get boat trips and vacations.
Exactly. So what I do is I actually store that, those pain medications, and I keep those as a backup, because, it's one of these things, you take your pain medication till you don't have pain. But for me, I always find myself where I'll always have like 5 or 6 left over, or an antibiotic. I always have, doctors will give you an antibiotic for anything nowadays. Actually, the CDC, the CDC just basically said that that antibiotics are useless now because of all the overprescription. But one of the things
they've developed all these super bugs that are resistant to antibiotics now. So there's certain strains of staph infection that they can't do anything with because of the over antibiotics. And I think there's a lot of secondary antibiotics that we get from the beef and the chicken as well, that ends up in our bodies that has helped create that problem.
Yeah. So like I said, I just store those things in a used to get in the computer industry, you get the bags, they're dark bags. So I would just take the antibiotics, because you got to keep them out of the light, because the light will destroy them. But I just store them and throw them in the fridge. And so, I mean, that's how I've been securing securing my meds. And, and I think it's also important. Thank God I'm not a diabetic or anything like that for insulin. I mean, people got to start planning about that. You got to have, and it's just, I'm just grateful that I don't, but I've got friends who are diabetic, and they can now under Obamacare, they're only allowed to get 30 days worth of their insulin. I mean, that's all they're allowed to get. So if you get it on the first, you can't. They used to be able to get like 60 days or 90 days. So if you get it on the first, and say you're going on a trip or a vacation, and you want a backup just in case you lose your insulin, under the Obamacare plan, you can't do that. Normally, pharmacists would give you a little extra, like a backup set, and keep track of it. But under the Obamacare law, they can't do that anymore. They're restricted. They can only give you what you're prescribed for that time, and where pharmacists kind of had a little bit of leeway if you told them the situation. So that's crazy. All right, so we got our trauma bag, we got our sutures, we got our lidocaine, which you can go out to the web and learn how to make it yourself. We don't recommend that, but hey, each their own. Let's just give you that warning. And then, so what's next? What else do we?
That's a great thing you just brought up about squirreling away your extra meds. And if you've got a refill on it and you don't need it, go get it anyway, because you never know when you want it, and now you've got it. You've got the access to it if you need it. And don't believe the expiration dates on there. Everything has its own expiration date. Now there's some items, and you want to, for everything that you're squirreling away, you want to look it up, print it out, and then put the real expiration date on there, from your own research on the web. Antibiotics will actually last about 7 years from their manufacture date, and whatever the expiration date is on the bottom is usually a year to 18 months from when it was manufactured. So whatever it says on the bottom, you've probably got an extra 5.5 to 6 years before it starts to lose its effectiveness. Antibiotics, most antibiotics, and look at each one, but most of them will not go toxic when they expire. Most antibiotics are just going to lose some of their potency. So after a 7-year period, you still don't necessarily want to throw it away. It's just that instead of taking one, you might want to double the dose.
Sure.
And now talking about dosage. Now, also another thing I'm not going to recommend because the FDA will kick in my door, but something that I have heard that other preppers may be doing out there is they may be buying fish antibiotics, which are almost identical to the antibiotics that you would get prescribed. Fish mox, which is amoxicillin, and it comes in 250 milligrams and 500 milligram caplets, just like you would get from the doctor, and oftentimes they're the same colors that you would get from the pharmacy, and you can buy those online. CampingSurvival.com sells the fish mox, and they sell it in 30, 60, 100 caplets. I'm going to be actually selling some of those at the expo, so anybody in the area, come by my booth, and you'll be able to get them a little bit cheaper than what you get them online. But you can get them from CampingSurvival.com, and if you use coupon code PrepperRecon, you'll get 5% off your order from CampingSurvival.com. And also, now amoxicillin, that's a wide spectrum antibiotic that you could use to treat your fish if your fish gets strep throat, or if your fish had a gunshot wound and you wanted to keep your fish from getting a gangrene or something like that. Now, if your fish has already gotten an infection that's already set in, you're going to want something a little stronger. And so for your fish, they make fish flocks, which is ciprofloxacin. And cipro is it's a little harder on your fish's stomach. It's the side effects are sometimes vomiting and diarrhea, so it's a little tougher on your stomach. But if you've really got to get a bad infection out of your fish in a Teotihuacan scenario, that's probably the one you want to use. Also, if your fish has been exposed to anthrax, Cipro is one of the few antibiotics that will actually address anthrax. And of course, I'm not recommending anybody take this for themselves, but if you were thinking about taking it for yourselves, I would want to go online and download the exact dosage for whatever type of antibiotic that I got. So, and I would want to print that out and keep that in my prepper standard operations procedure folder.
Sure. I grew up in the South, and I remember, when I was younger, we used to hike the Appalachian Trail quite a bit, and doing a lot of different outdoor activities. Now, I had friends, and I know they're hard to find, but they swore by the series of books called Foxfires. Have you ever read those or heard of those books? The Foxfire
I've heard of
series?
them. I haven't ever read them.
They are, I've actually read parts of them because it's a series, and like I said, it's basically old Appalachia wisdom. And these are, they have drugs. They have, basically it's the redneck anarchy cookbook. But it's a series. There's about 7 or 8 of them in the whole series. I mean, they tell you how to make structures. Basically, it's basically all of the knowledge of the Appalachia people, that they put into a book, and they have sections in there on medicine. And you'd be surprised how many of our synthetic medicines, were derived by tree bark and all, and all that. So I would. If you could ever get your hands on them, they are golden. Getting them is almost near impossible. I do see them on eBay every once in a while, but it's called Foxfire. It's not most of them are, well, they're all paperback. I mean, and if you could ever get your hands on them, I would highly, I mean, I've been looking for them as well. I probably shouldn't have said that before I got my copy, but no, we got to share. But yeah, they have excellent books.
I'll photocopy it. If I get it, I'll photocopy it and
but there you go. Oh, you might be able to, with Google. Who knows? Yeah. I mean, you might be able to. It might be in Google's library now. So, but that's the Foxfire series. There's about seven or 8 books, or 9, I want to say, in total. But it's everything. And to be honest with you, if when it hits the fan, one of the areas I'm looking at is the Appalachia. We talked about that. Is you want to go somewhere where people really don't depend on modern luxury. That's where you want to live, anyways, because it's not really going to affect them as much as it would someone in a major city and everything. I'll have to get my southern drawl back going.
Yeah, that's where we're looking. We're looking for something in the Appalachians.
Sure.
And in my book, in American Exit Strategy, book 1 of the Economic Collapse Chronicles, the family that's in Florida, and they have to bug out because the cities have gotten overrun with looting and rioting, and they have to go. So they have family in the Appalachians, and
Sure.
and they go up there and start forming barter networks and things like that.
Sure.
In the book.
So we have our antibiotics, we have our drug. I mean, the man's going to come down on us here and again in about another 3 minutes. But so we have our books, we have our pharmaceutical, our drugs and stuff that we need. What else do we need? What else should we have?
Let's get a little medical instrument kit, and you can get one of those for about $20 on Amazon. Now that's going to be the cheap one. It's going to be stainless, which no surgeon would ever use stainless. They use surgical steel because stainless is actually a little bit porous and it's harder to absolute sterilize like you could do with surgical steel. But if you boil it and after you boil it you dip it in alcohol, it's going to be pretty sterile. But surgical steel instruments, they can cost $100 each or more just for a pair of hemostats or forceps or and then these little kits that'll come with hemostats, forceps, tweezers, a little scalpel. You get like 20 pieces in there for $20-25.
Sure.
Now, if you don't want to get into suturing, there's emergency medical staplers, and you can just staple yourself. I don't know if it's going to be as cosmetically appealing. Of course, if you're sewing yourself up, it's probably gonna be a botch job anyway.
Yeah.
So, but the medical stapler, that's another thing, and you don't have to take classes. You don't have to think about it. You can just staple it up, and you're done. And the cheapo way to stitch yourself up is super glue.
I was going to ask you about. I use super glue. I mean, and you can get the medical grade super glue.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep super glue around here at the house all the time because I'm always cutting myself over, one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
So
Not
yeah.
the best thing in the world, but it's a lot better than bleeding out.
Yeah. No, I like I said, I live by super glue. I cut myself at least once a week doing some bonehead move, Sandy, and she's always making fun of me about it because I'm a klutz. And no, super glue is a staple around the Norton household. So even my daughter, she took a shot one day and she jokes about it that she looks like a hockey player, but that's exactly what but when she went to the emergency room, that's exactly what they did to her. Is they did the super glue instead of giving her the sutures and stuff. So, we're winding up. Can you stay on for another segment, or I know you're busy.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what we'll do. So you're listening to the Jeff Norton, the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast, and also on the line we got Prepper Recon. Go to his website, prepperrecon.com. Just a wealth of information and everything. And as I said earlier, and so we can only give you so much. It's time that you guys start acting, and we're giving you this information because we want you, your family. We want you to survive. We want you to be part of the rebuilding period, I guess is what we should say and stuff. So with that, we're going to take a small break, and then when we get back and stuff, we'll kind of wrap this up and talk about some other medical kits.
I'm Eric Kipple, 10-year veteran of the NFL.
I'm Captain Mark McNeil, 16-year veteran of the Army National Guard. Whether on the playing field or the battlefield, you must be both physically and mentally fit.
If you're injured, you owe it to yourself and your teammates to get back to peak performance. It doesn't matter if you've got a broken bone, depression, a traumatic brain injury, PTSD, or another psychological wound.
Getting help shows strength, not weakness.
To find out more, go to realwarriors.net.
After Daniel Pearl was kidnapped and murdered in Pakistan, his family and friends came together to work towards a more humane world.
A foundation was formed in Daniel's name to promote cross-cultural understanding through journalism, music, and innovative communications.
On Daniel Pearl Music Day, thousands of people around the world will unite to promote harmony for humanity.
Carrying on his mission of connecting people through words and music.
Join us in using the universal language of music to diminish hatred,
respect differences,
and reach out in friendship.
We invite you to perform, support, or attend a Daniel Pearl Music Day event in October.
Participate in Daniel Pearl Music
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
At this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends.
I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment.
America, welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
What is that?
Oh, that? It's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money. Always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
This message brought to you by the American...
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com. You know, before we took the break, we had Prepper Recon on. We were talking about medical instruments and, you know, surgical steel versus stainless steel. You know, as long as you take, you know, the necessary precautions for your medical kit, Prepper Recon is, you know, his recommendation is that that's fine. You know, go out to his web. Like I said earlier before we took the break, a lot of information, just a ton of, if you're into prepping, you know, like I said, there's a lot of stuff out there. And one thing that, you know, I learned, you know, by looking at Mark's site and stuff is that he kind of narrows it down, brings in, and he does a podcast as well. Mark, you know, do you have a minute? I know we were talking about the surgical steel over the stainless steel, but, you know, can you tell the audience a little bit about your podcast, and then we'll kind of wrap this up, or are you there?
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah. I want to make sure we get everything that we need to get in our kit, and then I'll go a little bit over the podcast.
Sure.
And we want to make sure we get all the usual suspects in there too. You want some gauze, some medical tape, Band-Aids. Now, for your Band-Aids, for your bug-out bag, because you don't know what kind of environment you're going to be in, go ahead and splurge and pay the extra $2 and get the tough strips. Those are the ones that when you put them on, when you take them off, you also get a free wax included with them because they peel the hair right out with them. But they're not going anywhere. Rain or sleet or snow, you know, they're like the post office. They're there to serve, you know. So splurge, get the tough strips, and then antibiotic gel. You can get the generic one, or you can get Neosporin. You know, Walmart's got their, you know, Wallsporin or whatever it's called. I'm sure CVS and Walgreens, they all have their. I've seen it. I've even seen it at the dollar store. Just any kind of antibiotic gel to help fight the infection. You don't want an infection in a post-collapse scenario. Cordaid, which is a cortisone cream, that's great for insect bites, rashes, poison ivy, anything like that. It's going to help a lot. It's also good. It's also good for if you're out and you're hiking and you're in a humid situation and you get a heat rash between your thighs or anything like that. And another good thing for that is cornstarch. Will knock that heat rash from between your thighs if you're in a humid climate and you're hiking. Keep an ACE bandage in there. You can use your ACE bandage for sprains. You can also use it for the bandage part of a splint. You know, if you break a leg and you have to reset that, you can wrap the bandage around a couple of sticks on each side of your leg to set that in you know, an emergency situation. Advil, you want some type of light pain medicine because, you know, you've got your excess stuff that you're squirreling away every time you go to the dentist or get a procedure done when you don't need it. But you might not want to use that all the time. And aspirin. Aspirin's good if you're, you know, get overexerted and you do have a heart attack. sometimes aspirin will keep you alive until the paramedics can get there. So you want to make sure you got aspirin. Benadryl tablets, they're good for just a regular allergy. Sometimes they make you a little drowsy, but they're also good for allergic reactions. Like if you have a food allergy that you didn't know about, or you get stung by a bee and you didn't know you were allergic to bees. If you know you're allergic to them, you need to try to get an EpiPen and keep that in your bug out bag. But for some allergy that where you have a bad reaction, sometimes Benadryl will stop that. Where your larynx starts swelling up and you can't breathe or something like that. It can save you from that. And there's a couple of things that you want to get that are preventative in nature, that you're either going to get them before you need it, or you're not going to get them at all. One of those things is potassium iodide tablets. After Fukushima, you couldn't get them. For 6 months, you could not get potassium iodide tablets. Everybody in the world wanted them because, what if that would have happened in my neighborhood? What if a nuclear reactor would have melted down 30 miles from my house? And I don't have those. What they do is they flood your liver and keep it from absorbing as much of the radiation that's around you from whether it's a nuclear attack or a meltdown in a nuclear power plant or anything like that. So you get those now, or come game day, you're not going to be able to get them. And they're not expensive. They might be $10 or $20, and they're also available on campingsurvival.com.
Well, that actually raises a really great point, because you have a lot of hidden. If there was like I live, we're here in Wisconsin, and there's a decommissioned nuclear plant here, but there's a lot of things that are carried on the roads and on the thing. I mean, you can get. I know that certain sites you can just get the nuclear detection strips, and keep those in your car, because you never know. And time is money. Life, and it's not money, but it's life in this case. If you're driving through an area, like I know if you go down south, actually by in Florida, there's a lot of nuclear power plants, and it might take a few minutes or maybe several minutes before the warnings go out to you if there was a leak or something like that. So, that was one thing that I'm looking for online. I found a couple websites that actually sell these strips. It's the same strips that like radiologists use, to make sure that they're not too overexposed. They change color if they're exposed to any kind of nuclear, radiation or anything like that. I mean, is that a recommendation as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, because I was looking at a Geiger counter, and those things are expensive, and then
they're a little pricey.
And then
there's a nuke alert that you can put on your keychain too, and it might be $20 or $30.
Sure. Yeah, I did look at that. I know that I can't remember. He's a host. He does Coast to Coast AM, and his sideline job that he does is that he actually promotes a device like that. But yeah, I was reading about a gentleman not too long ago who to calibrate a Geiger counter, you have to have some physical, some nuclear material to get it calibrated. And apparently this guy, ended up going to jail because he bought too much, or he was out west. Radiation, there's stones out west in the desert that you can pick up just laying on the desert floor and stuff. So I wouldn't recommend that. I think the strips would probably be the best way to go. So
yeah. And another thing that you're going to get before you need it, or you're not going to get it at all, is a gas mask. Recently when the Israelis were worried about an attack, they were standing in lines for, it looked like the first day the iPhone 6 was coming out, the lines they were standing in. And
now,
everybody didn't get one, but you can get them now, because when there's no need for something, you can get it. Once there's a need for it, forget it.
Now, do you recommend a certain type of gas mask, or a single stage, double stage? I mean, is there one better than the other, or it's like anything else, something's better than nothing?
Something that takes the NATO filter. And the Israelis make one that has the NATO filter. I think mine is Belgium. and I got mine from allergybegone.com. Which it sounds like a strange place, but they've got gas masks on there for $40, and you can go to other places. You could pay $150 for a gas mask, and this one came with a brand new sealed filter, and I think it was $40. I think that included the shipping.
Wow!
So your life's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, there. Of course, we all talk about, a collapse of society, but you could have a fire, or you could have, look at what happened in New Jersey, with Sandy and stuff, especially if you live along the coast. You could have an event that is unrelated to the calamity. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, they associate prepping with the final event or whatever. But, if you live in a hurricane zone, or if you live anywhere, anywhere, you could use these products. They're just not for the end of, when it hits the fan, when everything's snafu'd. You can use these from day to day as well.
No, if a train derails near your house and there's a chemical spill, you might need a gas mask, or, God forbid there's a terrorist attack, a dirty bomb, that's a gas mask. There can be biological attacks. There can be chemical attacks, and it's going to come in handy in any of those scenarios. And then some burn gel. Because even if you're just camping, because it's good to just kind of get outside sometimes. Just go camping. You might burn yourself, and burn gel's great. It's the one I have is it's half lidocaine, or I don't know if it's half, but the components in it are aloe vera and lidocaine. So the lidocaine numbs out the pain, and then the aloe vera actually has a healing effect to burn skin. So it's good stuff. And if you get all that stuff, you're going to have a pretty decent medical kit.
Now, roughly, so we can kind of set budgets and kind of let people know what the kit that you kind of laid out, roughly, what should it cost?
Oh, if you've got everything in there, you should be able to do it I would think you should be able to do it for less than $200.
$200, yeah.
Yeah, less than. If you're smart and you shop around, I tried to give everybody for the things that were available online, I tried to give them the best place to go. Sure.
I've seen, being a gun guy and being around guns and stuff. I know Cheaper Than Dirt has it. You can buy now. You can get into the catalog. You can actually buy field surgical kits from sites like Cheaper Than Dirt. Now they're going to run, they start at $200 and they go up to $700, but they have basically the surgical kit. You can do pretty much, you can do surgery with it. The only thing that it doesn't come with is any kind of anesthesia or any kind of drugs, but you have all of the instruments and everything that you need to actually do field surgery. So, plus they give you some training and some DVDs and stuff. But, if I want to continue training, what's your recommendation? Obviously, you talked about the website and the online videos. Do they offer, is there like physical classes that individuals can go to in the area, or how would I know about those?
I'm sure there are, and I know that there are in my area. I would suspect that everybody has them in their areas. There's EMT training courses, both for people that work in a school or work with the public and they want to get EMT training. There's classes for that. There's the Red Cross has basic first aid classes, and YouTube University. There's not much you can't find on YouTube.
Exactly. Well, like I said, I learned how to do sutures because I have friends that are doctors. Mm-hmm. And so I said, hey, look, if I'm out hunting or if I'm out in the woods, this is prior to any kind of, me thinking about prepping and stuff. I was like, if I'm out in the woods or doing whatever, and I, can't get help and I'm bleeding out and stuff. Can you? And they did. I mean, they were more than willing to show me how to do a suture, and then they identified, and that's why they said use chicken, because a lot of people don't realize that there's actually 3 layers that you have to suture up. Now, granted, most people think the outer layer is what they're going to do, but that's why they had me do a chicken, because you can actually simulate all 3 layers going all the way up and do a proper suture. So, if we were stuck, Mark, you would want me there to suture you up, because I've been trained.
Awesome.
And I'll make sure that you can compete in the pageant the next week or whatever.
Awesome.
but no, you raised
you
a
won't
good.
leave me looking like Frankenstein.
You won't look like Frankenstein. But hey, you know what? I'm all for and you raised a great point. I'm all for the staples. Because they use that in surgery, so obviously it does work. I mean, I think that would probably be, because think about it, if you're injured and stuff, you ain't got time to sit around and do all of the intricacies of doing it. I think the staples, get it done and move on kind of attitude. So you raised a great point about getting the staple guns that are made for that.
Sure. And for people on a budget, shop around and, ask for it for Christmas. Christmas is coming up. Another great thing to ask for Christmas is American Exit Strategy, book 1 of the Economic Collapse Chronicles. A lot of good prepper tips in there, actually.
Yes, I'm going to admit, Sandy told me that the book is sitting at the office.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, she went to the P.O. box and pulled them out, and then they were sitting at the office, and I haven't been at the I've been working here on servers and stuff and getting all that done here. So I will definitely get a hold of that and get reading into it and stuff. So
and I'm a Christian and I'm a conservative, and I tried to write, and I've read a lot of prepper novels, and I don't really appreciate a lot of bad language. So I wrote this book with no bad language. So for Christians out there trying to keep their mind pure, and they're trying to be conscious of what they're putting in their mind, because what you put in is what you get out. It's a great book for them. And you know what? If you're trying to wake up a family member or somebody, sometimes fiction can do it, because it can get them thinking about what if.
Sure.
And so it might be a good Christmas present for somebody. And now if you buy the physical book on Amazon, you can do the Kindle match, and it's only 99 cents to add the Kindle if you buy the physical book. So you could buy the physical book for a present and read the Kindle yourself, and you kind of get a twofer there.
Sure.
But now don't give it to liberals or atheists, because they're going to hate it, and they're going to leave me a bad review on Amazon.
Trolls.
Yeah.
Trolls.
Yeah. Just don't give it to them. If you try to convert them with something else besides my book, they will hate it.
It was funny because you're absolutely, and that was one of the things, and get a little bit off topic. I was talking with Rodney Conover. I don't know, if you listened to the show last night. It was actually at the end, and we probably should have kept it at the front. He was the script writer for Rush Limbaugh when he was in L.A. He actually, for 5 years, he did script writing for Rush Limbaugh. He did script writing for Ann Coulter and Herman Cain, and speech writing for Coulter and Cain. But he actually did the radio show for Rush, and we were talking about that. I was like, man, I am getting just, I'm getting just pummeled out there. Where people, and you're right, there's trolls out there. And I'm like, how do you? And he said, you just got to soldier on, brother. And he said, you just got to think of it this way, that you're a soldier, and if you're going to be offended by someone hurting you, think about the soldiers that are being shot at every day and stuff. And so he said, so what you're going to go through in this experience, and he said that's actually, he kind of tied that into, he didn't say directly, but I think that's probably how Rush gets through it and everything, is that you just got to remember that it's for the greater good and a cause. So yeah, you're right. I mean, there are trolls out there.
You wear it as a badge of honor.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It means you're doing your job.
I'm doing my job.
You're standing on the wall. So
exactly. So, but so your book, and then are you going to come out with another one?
I'm writing it right now, actually.
That was a lead-in. I have to tell the audience there's nothing here. When we were talking earlier today, you mentioned it, so I'm actually I'm looking forward to it. get that out and
I'm hoping to get it out maybe by January. I hope.
Well, and the thing is, it's great that you're writing fiction to kind of wake people up, because this is a little extreme. I actually, like I said, I had no experience in the prepper movement or anything. We actually rented because a friend of mine recommended, called The Road. And and that is, that will wake you up. Now, I will tell you, Sandy,
mine's not quite that rough.
But
I listened to the audiobook of that. It was just
it's pretty brutal. And the thing was that I was talking. I'm like, well, maybe we need. And she's like, oh no, it's all good, and everything. And then we watched The Road, and that's when, right after we watched The Road, is when we ordered our first set of food from Costco. We bought the Ark, the 5-gallon pail, for one, and that's exactly. It was that show, that movie, that they kind of said, well, this could, because they really never told you what happened. They just told you an event happened, and then you saw that, and that was, that was realistic to me. I felt that was very realistic, unlike the zombie movies.
The world's been through things like that before. We called it the Dark Ages.
Sure.
Civilization, the world empire, the world economic system, everything broke down, and we descended into chaos for several hundred years.
Yep.
It wasn't a couple of years, and everything, the green shoots started coming back, and we cleared the rubble of the financial crisis.
Yep.
Yep. It was an ongoing thing, and it was a really, really hard time for anybody that had to live through that period.
Sure. Now, for your first aid kit, like you said, you have one in your car. Now, do you have a similar kit in your car, or do you have another kit?
Very scaled down.
Okay.
I have one set of sutures, and I've got an Israeli battle dressing everywhere.
Now you're gonna laugh at me. I'm cheap, and I tell people, because, like I said, we go to the gun range, and in my field kit in my gun range, because I grab. Don't laugh at me, but it works. I haven't had to use them yet and stuff. I actually grab tampons, and I grab maxi pads, and those go in my field kit. And I also have a condom in my field kit. Now, a lot of people will be like, Sandy's like, why are you taking a condom? But really, if you figure that what 80% of your body is chest, right? Your upper extremity. And if you get shot and you have a sucking chest wound, that condom rolled up, keep it rolled up, makes a great seal to keep your chest cavity, or keep your lungs from collapsing because of pressure and stuff. So that's, and then, like you said, with the bandages, we have maxi pads, because they make great absorbers. And also then, of course, tampons, because, and I'm thinking gunshot wounds here. They're sterile. Sure. You can pack them in, because, you can get them packed in there and everything, and help stop that bleeding as much as possible. And they are sterile. So. But I recommend that all the time. It's funny, because when I'm talking to my friends and they're digging through my gear bag looking for the ammo, they're looking at me funny afterwards. I'm like, so,
what is going on?
Yeah, they're like, hey, Jeff, put the gun down. You don't need to be shooting. Is there something here that we need to be talking about? And it's like, no. And I explain it, and it makes and that was actually told to me. So everybody, that was actually told me from a combat medic, in the Air Force. And he was one of the angels, or what they call them, the parajumpers. And he said that's, if you wanted to put a kit together and you don't want to go to the store, and you're going to go out hunting, those are the three things that most adults have in their homes, and you can put those in your, just throw them in your bag with you. And like I said, I've never had to use them, obviously, but something's better than nothing, and that's what this is all about. Something is better than nothing.
Absolutely, and you're constantly growing, and it's not going from 0 to 50 in one day. It's doing a little bit each day and each week, and and learning a little more and doing a little more, and just being a little more prepared today than you were yesterday.
Yep.
And that's how you get the edge.
We went out and bought another 2 boxes of soup. the other day. So we had some extra money, and taking your advice, we went and got another 2 containers or 2 boxes of soup. And I did do some research. Those pop-off tops, they do not last as long.
Good to know.
They do corrode. There is a what it is it's a metal there's like a seal, and that seal will break down over time.
Yeah, because it has to, because it's perforated, so it would have to not last as long.
Yeah, so I did.
Because that's the whole concept of it, just peels off.
Yep. I actually asked what the shelf life on those. If you actually read them, the shelf life on those are only like 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, so I wouldn't
Good
even.
to know.
Yeah, I did. I did some research on that. So, and then I saw that YouTube video on how to open up a can without a can opener, which was amazing, where you scrape it on concrete.
Yeah.
I saw that, and that's out there on YouTube as well. So, well.
Or just make sure you have more than one can opener.
Or really sharp.
Usually, if you've got any kind of a multi-tool, most multi-tools are going to have a can opener on them.
Sure.
The little manual one. It's going to be hard. It's not like the turning thing, but get a couple of manual ones. That was one of the things in that Nat Geo show. They finally were able to get a can of peaches, and they had to bludgeon a guy to death with the can of peaches to get it. And then they get back up to their apartment, and they have no can opener. It was a really bad show, but hopefully it wakes some people up, and if it does, then that's good.
And that's the thing, is that you got to get people thinking, and
sure.
And I think they are. I mean, I really really think that most people that like I said, I come from a very conservative group, in the sense of these people are all conservative in the sense that life is fine and hunky-dory. Nothing's wrong. Everything's going to be well. The government's going to bail us out, and Obama's going to save the day. And conservative in that way, not conservative in leaning, but and I'm starting to see even those individuals starting to ask questions.
Yeah. The government's scared to death. Ben Bernanke can't wait to get out of there. You should watch him in his press conferences. He looks like he just had 8 shots of espresso. He's freaking out. This man probably hasn't slept since 2007.
Yeah, I wouldn't
freaking out.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that. Now you got Rand Paul, who is just basically saying, I'm going to block any nomination you do until you open the Fed. You're going to do an audit, and that's not conducive to good health. I don't care who you are. And so, I think, and it's just, it is, we've got to prepare. We just got to get, and like I said, I don't think any one of us in the community wishes dire, we want our republic to come back together and to do well. I don't think any of us are sitting around chomping, waiting for the fall of the great republic. And
no,
everything.
I'd like to see a 2-state solution, though.
Yes.
Because I'm tired of sharing my space with these people, honestly. I don't even want to be around anybody that voted for this conundrum of healthcare that we're in.
Yes.
I've got a lot of issues with a lot of things the Republican Party's done as well. But you know what? I think that we can maybe sit down and hash that out. But as far as abortion and Obamacare and Common Core and all of these types of things, I can't even have a conversation with these people. I really can't, and I don't want to share a country with them anymore.
Yeah, no, I get you. I understand exactly. I think that you're absolutely right there. They got to the point where they're just lawless, and no matter what you can do, you can only reform a prisoner or a corrupt or a criminal so much. And the problem is these guys are just wired completely different than us.
Oh.
And it's just one of these things when they will sit there on national TV, look you straight in the eye, and they'll lie to you. Literally lie to you, and they know darn well that they're the fact checks are going to come out and nail it. And then you've got the minions that follow him and say, well, he said it was so who are you to say? You're absolutely right. I agree with you. And then you get into the fact that these people are definitely not Christian. You know, they might say they are for political voting or whatever, but because you just don't do what you do and then call yourself a Christian.
No.
It just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way.
You don't call yourself a Christian and then allow the military to suppress the freedom of speech and freedom of religion of the people that are out there on the battlefield defending our rights to freedom of speech and freedom of religion by telling them that they can't proselytize in the military, by telling them that they can't pray in Jesus' name, and by telling them that they can't donate money to a Christian church or to a Tea Party group. It's insanity.
Yeah, well, and it's, you know, it's prolific. That's the problem, is prolific. I mean, I was watching the other day where the guys from Duck Dynasty were saying that the TV show was telling them that they're going to start editing out, because they don't want to offend the Muslims. They're going to start editing. There we go. They're going to start editing out the prayers and everything. So you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Show. Prepper Recon, I appreciate it, buddy. We're going to get kicked off here. We're going to go to break, and then when we get back, do you want to stay for another segment?
I'll stick around to say bye.
All right, guys. So you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. Join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com.
After Daniel Pearl was kidnapped and murdered in Pakistan, his family and friends came together to work towards a more humane world.
A foundation was formed in Daniel's name to promote cross-cultural understanding through journalism, music, and innovative communications.
On Daniel Pearl Music Day, thousands of people around the world will unite to promote harmony for humanity.
Carrying on his mission of connecting people through words and music.
Join us in using the universal language of music to diminish hatred,
respect differences,
and reach out in friendship.
We invite you to perform, support, or attend a Daniel Pearl Music Day event in October.
Participate in Daniel Pearl Music Day. Promoting
America. Welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
What is that?
Oh, it's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Seconds.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money. Always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
This message brought
I
to
had
you by
PTSD. Once I was back from Iraq, I was distant from everybody in my family. We had a reunion of our unit, and you'd hear these spouses say, "Is your husband doing that? My husband's doing that too. I thought it was just us." And really understanding that, hey, this is a common experience.
I learned more to listen to what he was saying, and that made it easier for me to understand where his pain was coming from.
Warriors should know that resources are available. Learn more at realwarriors.net.
10 seconds.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com. And also, we have Prepper Recon. You can go to his website at prepperrecon.com for more news and information on all things prepping. So, Mark, once again, man, can you believe it? Another hour and a half.
I know. Just the time flies.
It does. I'll be honest with you. I don't like these ad servers. I really don't, because we get into the conversation, and I just want to continue it. I know, but like I said, unfortunately, we have to get ready for mainstream media. We actually got some good news today. We are in contention for iHeartRadio. No longer are we sitting on the batter's deck or on. We're actually getting into the batter circle, I should say. We're not on deck. We're actually in the batter circle. So I think this is the next step that we have to take to show them that we can, because obviously they're not going to put us out there on their network unless they can sell advertising through us. But
congratulations.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're making a lot of mistakes along the way, but we're getting them worked out. That's the thing about doing a live show. You can't hide it, right? You can't cut and paste and stuff. So I appreciate it. I really,
but
really do.
What else? You don't have to spend 2 hours editing. Whatever happens, it happened, and now it's out there, so you can't do anything about it now.
Yeah, but I don't know though. These ad servers are just driving me nuts. I mean, this is the first time I actually ran with them, and you get in a like I said, it's a conversation. All of a sudden, it's like, I got to stop and everything. But we'll get there. We'll figure it out.
You got to pay the bills some way or another.
We do. We've got a big one. We want to get that.
It's either that or sell unicorn cupcakes.
I got to do unicorn, because the world's fine.
Yep.
The world's fine. Everything's okay because King Obama said so.
Absolutely.
So I know you're busy. I know it's late at your end. It's getting into the wee hour there for you and stuff.
I got to start getting ready for the expo. We're heading up tomorrow to set up. So anybody that's in the area, Lakeland, Florida, get more info at lifechangesbeready.com. And I'll be there signing books, and I'll have Israeli battle dressings. I'll be selling those. I'm going to have some silver and gold coins for sale. I'm going to have paracord shoelaces, so you don't have the melted ends on them. They're actually manufactured ends for paracord. We'll talk about paracord maybe next time I come on the show. Actually, next Thursday we'll talk about the bug out bag, and we'll get in depth to all the components to building a good bug out bag. Everything except the medical kit.
Sure. So like always, man, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely, man.
So I will talk to you. I'm sure we'll talk to each other later and everything, but God bless you, and thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for taking the time out of your day and sharing your knowledge and everything with our listeners. And we'll be in touch, my friend.
Thanks for all you do, Jeff, and thanks for having me on the show. I really enjoy it. It's always a great time, and I guess that's why the time just flies when we're on together.
Yeah, it's amazing. So good night, my friend. So there you go. That's Prepper Recon. Highly recommend. Go out to his website. See what he's got. Just a ton of information. I mean, it's one of these things where that's how I found him when I was digging through the internet looking for reliable resources and stuff. And he makes a very a critical point. Obviously you know what his convictions are. You know what Mark's convictions are. You know that he's a Christian. And that's the thing that appealed to me when I was looking at his site and stuff, is that the language and the way that he presents it and stuff is in a Christian manner. I mean, it takes you maybe 2 minutes after talking with Mark to understand that he's a prepper. Kind of get a shirt out there, Mark. This might be a good idea. Prepper for Christ. No, but seriously, I mean, because the thing is, when it hits the fan, and it's going to. I mean, all your economists are saying that it's going to. We just cannot continue to do this. There's going to be a rebuilding of this country. There really is. And the thing is you want You want to live under we're already seeing what atheism and anti-Christian values gets us in this country. You see it every day. You see the complete, total disrespect for our military, where you see complete, disdain for any religious organization other than the ones that will perpetuate this administration's control on us. I mean, you see it. You see it. You see the attack. You see Christian organizations being told that they have to go against their fundamental values, their core principles, or they face prosecution. You see that. That's not the America of old. That's not what we're about. And you see these the constant barrage and the constant attack. And so my question is this, is that, when the dust settles and hopefully you're on the other end of that dust, you make it through, your family gets through. There's going to be a rebuilding. And the question is do you want to rebuild this great nation under atheism, or do you want to build it under being a Christian? So it's very important if you and within the Christian religion, there's different sects. We'll say that there. You got Church of Christ, Baptist, Catholic. And they have their infighting. But the regardless of that, they all still read the Bible, and they all still drill it back down to that. So like I said, if you're a Christian, if that's your belief system and everything, you have a duty. You have a duty to make sure that you can come out at the other end and you can continue the Word of God. So with that, I just want to say once again, go out and support Prepper Recon. Go out to his website, get his book. I got my copy. I'm going to start reading it this weekend. It's on my book list to read this weekend, and then we'll talk about that next week. So with that, we're already into the third hour. It's amazing how time flies. I tell every guest that gets on this show, they're like, "Oh, we'll do a 15-minute interview," and it's like, trust me, it's not going to be 15 minutes. It was funny. Joe the plumber, Joe was on here last night. He was supposed to do 15 minutes. It was an hour and 30 or 40 minutes before he got off, and I know that Rodney was on the full 3 hours. So there was a lot of news that we were supposed to cover last night that we didn't get covered, and we're going to cover it today. So first let's talk about let's talk about Obamacare for a little bit. Not for a little bit. Not. I'm not going to take up the whole hour. Kind of give you some of the revelations. We now know, and this is what we've been reporting on all along, because we do at the Midnight Patriot do have insiders. Believe it or not, we as a little organization, through the contacts that I've developed over the years and in my professional and private life, we have insiders, and now it's coming out in mainstream media. It's coming out in mainstream media. But if you were listening to our show several weeks ago, we were telling you guys this. We told you that their site was not secure. Their site wasn't secure. There was a security expert who went out and actually broke into the site and was able to extract. So if you guys, as of last week, if anybody registered or got on the Obamacare site, there's a security expert out there who has your information. Yeah, we told you that. We warned you of that here at the Midnight Patriot. So, and it came out. We told you that we were being lied to. We told you that. Everybody knew that, though. But we gave you specifics here at the Midnight Patriot. And, we can only do what we can do. Kind of like what Prepper, what we talked about earlier. We can give you this knowledge. It's up to you to act on it. I hope you do. I want to see you at the end, at the end of this. It's all about, taking care of each other. And that's very important too. We talk about this, community, this thing of community. You need to get your community around you. Maybe it could be I know there's a huge community, they say, on Facebook, but when they turn Facebook off, where are you going to go? Where are you going to turn? If that's your community. So what you need to do is take the tools that you currently have at your disposal, and you need to start, building, real groups, real people. So one of the things you can do is actually you can break your Facebook list down by geographic location. So you can find all of your friends that live in the state of Wisconsin, for say, and maybe have a meeting. Maybe get together. Say, hey, look, we're going to meet at XYZ Diner. Do that. Start building those groups now. Start meeting people face to face. Start getting out there. Because there's going to be a time, no matter who you are and how well you rep, we're going to need each other, one way or the other, right? I've said clearly that, we say some pretty damning things here. We give you information at times that's way ahead of the curve. It's because of our relationships. I am sure eventually, if we continue to do this show and we start affecting change and we start getting out the mainstream media, my freedoms will be under attack, and I'm going to need you to help me. I'm hoping that there are patriots out there that will come to I know I will come to your aid as a fellow patriot. So, but it's important, and I need to listen to my own advice here. We need to start building these communities, be it just meet for breakfast, meet whatever. We need to start doing it. Have a meeting. I know I was invited to a meetup here in Wisconsin, trying to get the location of where it's actually going to be, and I'm going to try to make it this weekend. Try to be there. And I ask that you do the same. The other thing too, part of a good survival plan, have a bug out. Develop relationships, believe it or not, develop relationships with other people overseas. Because you might have to leave the country. So, and I'm not talking about, where you get the spam and all that from. I'm talking about good relationships, people that you know. I'm developing some excellent relationships with people overseas right now. And I'm using Facebook. I'm not bashful about it. I'll tell you exactly how I'm using Facebook. And then we're becoming friends over Facebook. And then what we're doing is, develop a friendship with people. Facebook is good. It's a great tool. But it can be turned off. It can be blocked. And it is for sure being listened to. For sure being listened to. It doesn't take you very long. This is not conspiracy theory stuff. This is fact. If you look at the funding of Facebook and you look at how and Google for that matter, Google was, they're complaining now because they have to now pay for their own gas. A lot of people don't know this, but their jets at Google, they were actually getting Department of Defense gas. Well, they were told just recently that they have to start paying for their own gas. These are billionaires, and they, so you don't get those types of services from our government unless you're doing something with them. And that raises a really good point. We talked about this. Part of our topic tonight that we were going to bring up was the structures that are being built or being put on barges on the east and west coast of the United States. Now, Google's telling you that they're part of their new rollout for the Google glasses, and that may be the case. That may be the case. However, they're retail stores. If you look at the structures, if you look at the very top of the structures, those are wireless antennas, and those are high. Those are those aren't the kind of wireless antennas that you would use at your home, or even those are high frequency. Those are wireless, high end commercial. Now, granted, it's Google, so they can afford it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they own a couple satellites. But that technology that they have on top of those structures just don't gel with me as far as they say it's a retail store. It's going to be a retail store. Now, if you had to monitor, now you just heard today, Google has been tapped by the United States government to fix Obamacare. It's news today. But if if you were to have a data center or any kind of facility like that, and it was on terrestrial land, it's vulnerable. Even those at sea are vulnerable. But if you put it on sea, if you put a data center at sea, there's a couple things. Number one, it's a little bit more secure because you push that out in the ocean, you're going to be able to see something coming from quite a few miles away. Number two is if you push it out far enough, and it's in international waters, they can do whatever they want to. They can have whatever data they want to. They are no longer, now granted, when it comes to our security and our sense of privacy in the United States, we don't have any anymore. Government's blatantly said that. But I've said all along, the government doesn't come out and tip their hand. Now granted, I think it got escalated with Snowden. I think Snowden, escalated it, no doubt about it. But the government doesn't, they don't think, when they have product A, they're already building product C, D, and F to enslave us. And I think that this is the next evolution. And that's why they're coming back. Now, this is why the government's now all aghast. Oh, we're going to fix the NSA issue. Well, the only reason why you're going to fix it is because you have something better in their minds. Evil in our minds, but something better. And I think, you need to watch those barges. You need to see where they're positioned. You need to look at the technology, and I know that we have listeners on both coasts. So if you can go out there and take some the pictures are out there on the web, but take some high def pictures of them, so we can track those antennas, because I can't see the model number, but if we can tell you what the antenna is based upon the antenna manufacturer and the type and the length and all of that stuff, we can tell you the frequencies that they're operating at. And then from there, we can pretty much determine what they're doing. So I ask my listeners who are on the East and West Coast, get in your cameras, get some high-def pictures of those. Now, the thing is that if because of security reasons, you can't get high-def pictures, that should tell you a lot of things. Because remember, they were sold as these are commercial buildings, right? But if you see the security around them such, that warrants them as a secret, there you go. There's your answer. So I ask you guys to do that. So we talk to, watch those barges, see where they're used. And like I said, they might be legitimate retail stores. I doubt it though. There's a lot of technology there. There's a lot of technology sitting on the roof of those things. A lot of wireless type of technology. So look at that. So, of course, you had Seabrish the other day, congressional. How funny was that? Oh, there's nothing to say. I want to tell you, it's kind of like that comic Ali. We joke about it in Iraq War. The guy, oh, the Americans are not here. As, we're sitting in a firefight right behind them. Seabrish sitting up there at Capitol Hill. We wanted to talk about this yesterday. I'm sure everybody's seen it. Oh, there's nothing wrong. The site is running 100%. And all of a sudden, CNN split screen and the site is down. How perfect is that? That right there should tell you that God is probably on our side. I don't think God really takes sides. He's concerned about other things. But, how funny is that? The fact that she's sitting there, oh, the site's up and running, everything's fine. All of a sudden it goes down. Right. It's pretty comical. And then we have right now what's going on. Obama is wanting to blame insurance companies now. See this? See where this is going? He's wanting to blame insurance companies now for the bad rap of Obamacare. And he's warning them. He is physically warning them that they are to keep their mouths shut or, risk not being able to participate. See, that's the problem with Obamacare. Because now you have everything consolidated in one thing, and you have the government now in control. So the government can now pick and choose. And we've already established, and this is not this administration, but many administrations. Typically the ones that get picked are the ones that donate the most, right? Company-wise. Those that play ball. And that should be concerning because now you have the government basically saying that you're not going to say anything bad about Obamacare. And if you do XYZ insurance company, you're not going to be able to participate. Because I'm sure within the 72,000 word law and the 11 million word regulations, I'm sure they can find something in there that makes sure that you can't participate. So now the government is now going to be controlling the insurance companies. So it's bad enough that they're controlling you. They're now controlling the corporations. And this is a government that once they get control, I mean, they tell you what you're going to do or not do. We talked about this, about General Motors. When the government, when General Motors accepted the money from the government told General Motors that they needed, before they can use the money, they had to get rid of Pontiac, that manufacturing arm of General Motors. That came out. So now the government's going to, insurance, you don't think they're not going to do the same thing? You don't think they're not going to tell the insurance companies, either you do it our way or you won't be able to participate, or we're not going to allow any of our people to use your insurance. Do you not see something wrong with that? Our people. The government is telling, they're complete control. They not only you have to register or pay a fine, but now they're telling the insurance companies that you have to do it our way, keep your mouth shut, don't talk about it, or you're not going to be able to participate. Pretty scary. So you're going to see, a consolidation in the insurance industry. You're seeing it now that if you go to certain insurance and you get insurance, some hospitals are no longer going to take it. Some hospitals are Obamacare only. Now, the good news is that someone in the financial community of the hospitals are also discovering that there is a marketplace for people that don't want to participate in the Obamacare. And it's only a matter of time before an insurance company, someone who owns an insurance company, is a patriot, decides that they're not going to participate either. And then they'll be able to offer. We're hoping. But really the fix for all of this is get rid of the stupid law. Get rid of Obamacare. It doesn't work. It is on its face socialism. And that's not if you want to be a socialist, go to Europe. There's plenty of countries over there you can pick and choose from. They wouldn't take you because your idea of socialism is not even nowhere near theirs. You go to Europe and stuff, yeah, they're socialists, but they still require people to work. So with that, you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. If you'd like to join the conversation, you can give us a call at 262-997-0607. Or, of course, you can Skype us at The Midnight Patriot is our Skype name. That is The Midnight Patriot. When we get back, we're going to be talking about some other issues. Of course, we're going to bring up the Tech Talk, and I'm going to show you how you can secure your cell phone communications. And we'll just kind of wrap up the night and just kind of see where the night takes us. You're listening to The Midnight Patriot. Join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com. Like us on Facebook. Tell your friends about us. The best way that you can support what we do here is repost our shows, like us, tell your friends about us, get the word out.
I'm Eric Kipple, 10-year veteran of the NFL.
I'm Captain Mark McNeil, 16-year veteran of the Army National Guard. Whether on the playing field or the battlefield, you must be both physically and mentally fit.
If you're injured, you owe it to yourself and your teammates to get back to peak performance. It doesn't matter if you've got a broken bone, depression, a traumatic brain injury, PTSD, or another psychological wound.
Getting help shows strength, not weakness.
To find out more, go to realwarriors.net.
After Daniel Pro was kidnapped and murdered in Pakistan, his family and friends came together to work towards a more humane world.
On Daniel Pearl Music Day, thousands of people around the world will unite to promote harmony for humanity.
Join us in using the universal language of music
to diminish hatred,
respect differences,
and reach out in friendship.
Participate in Daniel Pearl Music Day, promoting harmony.
America, welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
We were told nothing could be done to enjoy these final moments together.
But in that moment, when all seemed lost,
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital gave us hope.
Because at this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care. We're changing the way the world treats childhood cancer by sharing our discoveries with doctors and scientists everywhere.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends.
I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and join St. Jude in finding cures and saving children.
You're listening to Jeff Norton of the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. You can always join us Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. and sometimes 12. As tonight, we've gone into our third hour. Join us on the web, www.themidnightpatriot.com. Like us on Facebook. Tell your friends about us. Give a little shameless. We try to do this at the end of the night. I was told that we need to do it during, at the very beginning, but I just want to say the best way that you can support us is actually two ways. If you are a small business owner, if you know of a small business owner that would like to advertise, like I said, we get each one of our shows, if you add up right now, we're about 2,000 listeners. Now, people will tell you, and actually people in the industry will tell you, that people that listen to talk radio such as ourselves, that's a captive market. Most radio markets, when you're lucky in an hour time, you get about 15 minutes of actual cognitive listening. So with us, typically the 2,000 listeners, and we're growing every day. We're adding more listeners as the word gets out. So if you want to support what we're doing, obviously, and you're a small business owner, we have some of the cheapest rates in the business. $5 a month. $5 a month gets you an ad on our website, plus we'll get you an ad, a 30-second to a 1-minute clip on the show. Now, we've had a lot of complaints actually tonight because we went over to the ad servers. They don't like the ads. There's two ads that we will always keep. That's the Wounded Warrior ad, and the other one, of course, is the St. Jude's. Those will never go away. Those other ads, if you don't want to hear those anymore, come up with $5. You can go online, you can pay it. If you know of a business, if you want to promote your website, if you want to do whatever, we don't care. As long as, of course, obviously if you're a patriot, you're not going to direct us to some stupid site, But if you have a friend or even your web page, your Facebook page, of $5, you pay that and nothing. And that's all we're asking for. And that will also, not only will that give you an ad on our website, but more importantly, it will give you an ad to our podcast. So every show that we do, your name, your business name, will be promoted. So that's one way you can support us here at the Midnight Patriot. The other way that you can support us is tell your friends about us. relink to our podcast. Get the word out. We can only do so much. What happens is when we post and we try to promote our site on other sites and it's coming from us all the time, they block you. It hasn't happened yet because we try to keep our posts, pertinent to what their conversation is. I mean, it would aggravate me too as a site owner if someone was posting on mine, redirecting people off my site. We try to keep it that way. But if people are continually doing that and getting the word out, and like I said, if you're listening to this podcast, if you listen to any of our podcasts, stop what you're doing and just take your friend list that you have right now and just say, hey, look, if you agree with what we're saying and you want to support, and I know we do because we got 2,000 listeners and it grows and it's the same list. I know, we got ears. Or the NSA. No, we're not. But, there's ways of knowing. So I know who they are. It also boils down to conversations. I have conversations every day with the same people. I ask, stop what you're doing. Take our post that you're going to get from tonight's show and send it out to all your friends. That takes you 2 minutes. 2 minutes to repost our link and just say, tell your friends that, they need to listen to the show. That's how we're going to grow this. And I mentioned to it earlier, I mean, we are in consideration. We're no longer just on the network. We are actually, if you go to our, we are pending review right now with iHeartRadio. Can you imagine how many people, how much knowledge we can bring to people if we got 180 million potential listeners, right? If we get 5 million, if we get 2 million, if we get 1 million, if we get a couple 100,000, the Alex Joneses of the world and stuff, if you listen to his podcast, he gets about 14 to 20,000, I want to say, just on the numbers. I'm sure it's higher than that because he's got the radio refeeds and stuff like that, but you see the effect that he makes. Can you imagine if us as Patriots as well had that kind of push? And like I said, it's not our desire to get rich over this. Everything we do, we do with putting back in. That will allow us to make the money to get better equipment, to get you guys on the show. And that will also allow us to spend more advertising to get our message out there. So we ask, just redistribute. Use social media for what it's intended for. You guys have no problem sending pictures of kittens and friend requests to play games on Facebook. Just make sure that on a day's time that ours is in there with that request as well. That's all I ask. And that's how we will affect change and grow this show. Also, participate. Get involved. You can always talk to me during the day on Facebook, text. You can always call in at the show. We'd love to have you. Love to have a conversation with you. Because that's what this show is all about, having a conversation with fellow Patriots. So that's enough of our shameless plug. But we need to do it. We need to do it. And like I said, I've gotten texts already or chats from people. If you don't like the advertisement because you think it's liberal, then help us replace them with real ads. And the way that you do that, it's $5. $5. In some cases, it's $3, depending on where you buy your ad on the site. In some cases, it's, if you want to own every podcast for the next 30 days and advertise on it, it's $30. See that? So that's how you can help us grow this show and this business. And we're definitely growing. We're getting well-known named guests on the show. And we're going to have some more next week. Wait until you see the list that's coming out next week that we're putting together for you. It's just incredible. And in mid-November, the following week, we're going to have some guys that you see on, we're not taking them from Fox, but these are guys that you see on Fox. These are guys that you see, named very well-known authors and Patriots and Tea Party members. So we are making change. Making change. Affecting change, I should say. So all right. So that's enough of that. We're going to kind of wrap up the night. We got some more news things. I couldn't have put it any better than this. I was actually out on Fox, kind of listening, and I found, I came across this clip, and I just want to share it with you, the audience.
Well, this has just got to stop.
If you talk to somebody who said, well, I don't know, I was watching Fox News and they said this horrible.
Mr. President, Fox News isn't what's making Americans sick about your health care law. Your health care law is. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto. And excuse this departure from form, but I think this is just poor form. So it's time we set some things straight. Mr. President, we at Fox News are not the problem. I hate to break it to you, sir. You are. Your words are. Your very promises are. We didn't sell this health care law. Sir, you did. Remember this?
If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor. Period.
Not so. Mr. President, tell that to tens of thousands of retirees at IBM and Time Warner and dozens of others who've been dumped from their coverage and told to find their own coverage. Now, Fox News didn't break that news to them, Mr. President. Their companies did. Fox News didn't push more of those firms to hire part-time workers. Your health care law did. Fox News didn't incentivize fast food restaurants to scale back their benefits. Your health care law did. Fox News didn't make doctors want to opt out. Your health care law did. Fox News didn't make insurance premiums skyrocket. Your health care law did that. Just like Fox News didn't grant hundreds of exemptions to companies that needed them, you did. And Fox News didn't delay one key provision after another, including, just today, online enrollment for those small business exchanges. You did that, sir. Just like it wasn't Fox News that said we had to pass this to see what was in this. You did. Or was that Nancy Pelosi? Yeah, sometimes I'm confused. But of this I am not. Fox News didn't redo basic math. Sir, you did. Fox News didn't say you can cover 30 million more Americans and not see a hit in premiums. You did. Fox News didn't say you could throw in those with pre-existing conditions and not have to pay for it. You did. Fox News didn't all but say you could get something for nothing. You did. Fox News didn't come back years later and say, oh, yeah, we did raise some taxes. You did, just the other night. Here's where you are right about Fox News, however, Mr. President. We were on this very early. We can do math and did. You cannot and did not. Now, we said it and proved it. You didn't, and we're suffering for it. Take it from the numbers guy here at Fox. Numbers don't lie. The number of Americans working part-time and nervous. The number of retirees days away from being dumped on exchanges and anxious. The number of company bosses with any news to pass along on those exchanges still clueless. The number of doctors who want out. The number of congressmen now opting out. No, Mr. President, none of those numbers lie. But with all due respect, sir, I can only conclude you do. I know. You hate us at Fox. But please take a look in a mirror and fast. You think we're the skunk at your picnic. But that does not mean we are the ones that stink, because that smell isn't coming from the folks reporting on your law, Mr. President. That smell is your law.
I could not have said it any better. I've been saying it all along. Let's give credit where credit is due. That was an excellent critique of President Obama and Obamacare. So, keeping with the spirit of Halloween and good fun, I just want to share with you a little parody. We did one a little bit earlier. I'm going to play this one for you. Hopefully you get the same laugh out as I did.
A long, long time ago, I can still remember how their protest used to make me smile. 'Cause I knew we could ram it through before they ever had a clue. Then maybe they'd shut up for a while. But the protest grew and made me shiver. Pelosi and Reid could not deliver. Now our push for health care would have to wait till September, October, or next year. I can't remember if I cried when I heard the riot organized, but something told me deep inside that day, national health care died. Though I lighted every town hall in sight, drove my Chevy across the country trying to put up a fight. But them good old boys were standing right there outside, saying this'll be the day that it dies. This'll be the day Obamacare dies. Well, we were gonna run it all on our own, but congressmen and senators were getting stoned back home. That's not how it was supposed to be. We used to be treated like the king and queen, and the sweater she borrowed from L.L. Bean, and my voice could part the stormy seas. But now every time I hit the stage, bigger crowds appear in fits of rage. Somewhere down in hell is where my numbers fell. I was blown away by Barb and Buck and the redneck neighbors with their pickup trucks. But I knew I was out of luck the day that health care died. Even though I lighted every town hall in sight, drove my Chevy across the country trying to put up a fight. Them good old boys were standing right there outside, saying this'll be the day that it dies. This'll be the day Obamacare dies. Even though I lighted every town hall in sight, drove my Chevy across the country trying to put up a fight. Them good old boys were standing right there outside, saying this'll be the day that it dies. This'll be the day Obamacare dies. Would you be interested in a healthcare co-op?
I just couldn't resist. I'm sorry. I know it's a very serious time, but when I saw that, I had to share that with you guys. That was incredible. You could actually watch the video. It's on YouTube, obviously, and you can put in Obamacare parodies, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious. So, well, it's been a great show. Recon Prepper has just once again, opened up my eyes and shared some knowledge with you. Now, one of the things that we will always do here at the Midnight Patriot, now we're shuffling it around because we're still trying to get the ad server, trying to figure that out. And it's our section that we always do called Remember the Fallen. And if you're a military active duty, if you're a family member or whatever, you could always have a voice here at the Midnight Patriot. And with that, this is we do this every night for those that are listening for the first time, and we ask that you keep the family members in your prayers and in your hearts. And remember, regardless of what your political beliefs are, regardless of what you believe in the war, when a man, a woman, husband, wife, father, son, daughter puts on this nation uniform and puts themselves in direct harm's way and pays the ultimate price, you need to respect them for that, and you need to honor them. So with that, we will now do our part here at the Midnight Patriot to remember them. Marine Corps Lance Corporal Christopher O. Grant, Army Sergeant Lyle D. Turnbull, Army Staff Sergeant Patrick H. Quinn, Army Sergeant Patrick C. Hawkins, Army Captain Jennifer M. Marino, Army Private First Class Cody J. Patterson, Army Sergeant Joseph M. Peters, Lance Corporal Jeremiah M. Collins Jr., Army Specialist Angel L. Lopez,
After Daniel Pearl was kidnapped and murdered in Pakistan, his family and friends came together to work towards a more humane world.
A foundation was formed in Daniel's name to promote cross-cultural understanding through journalism, music, and innovative communications.
On Daniel Pearl Music Day, thousands of people around the world will unite to promote harmony for humanity.
Carrying on his mission of connecting people through words and music.
Join us in using the universal language of music to diminish hatred,
respect differences,
and reach out in friendship.
We invite you to perform, support, or attend a Daniel Pearl Music Day event in October.
Participate in Daniel Pearl Music Day.
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
We were told nothing could be done to enjoy these final moments together.
But in that moment, when all seemed lost,
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital gave us hope.
Because at this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care. We're changing the way the world treats childhood cancer by sharing our discoveries with doctors and scientists everywhere.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends.
I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and join St. Jude in finding cures and saving children.
It's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money, always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
This message brought to you by the
America. Welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can reach us here every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Time till 12 a.m. Wow, what a show. What a show. We had Prepper Recon on. We got some news in. Had a little fun tonight. Played a little music for you, some parodies. I hope you had a good Halloween with your kids, your family. Stay away from the candy, Dad. Stuff. So, no, this is a time that we as a family need to, kind of spend time with each other, taking the kids walking. I miss those days. My kids are grown up, but there's still hope. Grandchildren. We have grandchildren. One. We're going to spend time with her at Christmas. But before we got off the air, before this thing got away from us and everything, I've been promising this. There's some technology out there that I actually found, and I want to share this with you. There's a company called Silent Circle. They do encryption on cell phones. Now, they do charge $9.95 a month for their service. And what it is that you take their apps, and they actually sit on top of your Android or iPhone device. And then when you use those, you have to, obviously the other person needs to have the same product. But when you use those to communicate with each other and stuff, that the information that's sent across the cell phone or the PTSD, the line, is encrypted. So that includes text, that includes email, that includes anything that you use using their service. So I highly recommend you go out to them. It's silentcircle.com. They're not an advertiser. I just found them for you because I'm starting to look for solutions myself. Being a technology guy, I can, I probably write my own, but I was just thinking what would be easier. So it's silentcircle.com. Take a look at their website. Looks like a fairly decent product. Also, they have videos of the founders and stuff, and seem like legit guys. So, we talked about that. I don't know if you guys, we talk about King Obama. This is how crazy it is. Now, granted, it's not Obama doing this. There are, the Obama mask. Remember that the rodeo star? He's actually not him, but at a company picnic or company party, Halloween party, there was a gentleman who wore an Obama mask. And now the company has to go through sensitivity training. That is how insane this has gotten. That we can't even have parodies of our president, or you got to go to sensitivity training. This is dictatorship. Clear and simple. How dare you? I mean, this is, there's an excellent movie on North Korea, where some journalists snuck into North Korea under the guise of helping blind people. And they did help blind people see, remove cataracts. But this is what this has become. Watch that movie. It's on Netflix. You can get it, it was done through PBS or National Geographic, not PBS. Watch that. And watch those people prophesize to their leader. And that's what you see here in the United States in certain groups. Watch that. I recommend it. So now you've got people wearing the Obama mask, getting in trouble at work, having to go through sensitivity training. How about this? I am offended the fact that I am watching my government become socialist, communist. We talked about that, Saul Alinsky. I'm going to bring that name up because eventually you're going to read the book. Don't buy it. Go find one that's taken off the internet. Don't give those guys any more money. No, do what you got to do, right? But read the book. Now, I do have some good news. We had some guests on the other night. We had Typhoon Lou and Lauren J. Ian was on from IamAmerican.org. I talked to Lou actually today. And he informed me that we are making headways. Ohio has actually passed a law for a constitutional balanced budget Article 5 convention. So if I remember correctly, that brings us up to 10. So we have 10 states. We need 34 total. So we've got 18 states out of the 10. We have 18 states that have a balanced Article 5, a balanced budget amendment. We have 10 that's already committed. We need 34 in total. So we got 18 who's going to do it. We have another 16 states that are formulating or putting together. So you need to go out to this website, IamAmerican.org. We talk about all of the different things that we can do. I know there's a lot of talk about impeachment, but whatever, it ain't going to happen under the current administration and the current Congress. You're never going to get the votes. But this takes the power away from Congress and puts it into the hands of the state. So I highly recommend that if you're a patriot and you want to affect change, you can, this is one way you can do it. You can push legislation. So once again, good night. God bless you. Until we talk again tomorrow. You're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and podcast. You can join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. And until we talk again, my fellow patriots, good night.
son, give her a happy